I have what is probably the largest chair in all of Japan. I swear, I do oil it. I don't know why it's. I don't know why. I don't know why. I should probably introduce myself. I am apparently the guy with the squeaky chair. No, actually, my name is Luke, and I'm a jet. I'm a first-year jet, and I've been on the program for about 10 months. I think I should know the answer to that, but it's too late to be doing calendar maths. Alright, so in today's video, we're going to do something a little bit new and a little bit novel. We're going to try and be positive. I'm kidding, we're going to do a top 10 list of all the pros and all the wonderful reasons why you should do jet. Where did I put my list? Is this it? Nope, I just had it. This chair's gonna speak more than I am. Find it. Alright. Okay, so the first pro in the corner of jet is the wage. The wage is awesome. So with jet, the wage is actually increased for the first 4 years, and it stays the same between years 4 and 5. So the starting salary is 3.36 million yen, which is a bit hard to work out, but basically it's around about $2,600 a month, which is pretty good, and it's not too bad, especially if you're placed out in the countryside where you're not going to be spending too much money. In comparison, taken directly from Interact's website, they're claiming that they pay an average of about 2.4 to 2.7 million yen. So that's a pretty big difference straight out the bat. Now you can earn different levels of money according to different programs. So for example, GABA, they run their programs on wages per class, whereas on Jet, and as far as I can tell on Interac, it's just a solid wage for the month, regardless of how many classes that you've actually taught. And that works out pretty well for me because my classes are different every single day. I have many different schools that I go to, and sometimes I'm doing 2 classes a day, sometimes I'm doing 4, sometimes I'm doing 5. It varies the kind of hours that I'm technically working, but at the end of the month it's the exact same wage the whole way through. And I believe that Interac and most private dispatch companies are the same, but there are some companies like Gab out there where you actually earn per class. So according to them, their baseline salary is 1,500 yen per 40-minute class. Now they do have a bunch of other tiers and different ways that you can earn more money, but you'll have to just go online and check that out because that could be a whole video in and of itself. But by and large, with the increases every year, Jet's pretty much number 1, comes out on top. Pro number 2. Wait, that's 4. Number 2, housing. So housing is kind of a funny one. Some jets have to find their own housing. Most jets typically don't. You can either inherit housing from your predecessor, or your BOE will set you up with housing appropriate to whatever they're going to do. So to give you an example, I flew into Tokyo, we had orientation. I then flew into Sapporo where we had second orientation, and then I was driven out to where I live now, and I was driven directly to my apartment. I was given the keys, I signed over all the deeds and stuff like that, and within about half an hour of me arriving, that was it. I was in my apartment, I was sorted, I had somewhere to sleep. I was absolutely shattered. It was a very long journey that whole day, but at the end of the day I got into my apartment. It was pretty much brand new. I think one of the downsides of this system is that you might be inheriting an apartment from a previous jet, and said previous jet may not have been the tidiest of people. You don't really have to go far online to see some of the big horror stories regarding people arriving to their new housing, but by and large I think that that's the minority of cases. It is worth noting that there are other jets who typically have to find their own apartments, so the likes of jets in Tokyo and whatnot, although I believe that depending on how good your BOE is, they'll help you navigate all that stuff. But by and large, if you are successful in the jet program, you should be able just to walk into your apartment once you arrive. Number 3. Health insurance. Health insurance, health insurance, health insurance. On Jet, you actually have 3 different kinds of health insurance. You have the standard National Health Insurance Program, which is just the social health care program at the time, with the majority of Japanese people and Japanese workers being enrolled on the program. It's also accepted by all Japanese doctors. The plan covers up to 70% of any sort of medical expenses, and typically you just have to pay the remaining 30%. But wait, there's more. As a jet, you have jet accident insurance that covers essentially whatever the national health insurance doesn't. So that's a huge benefit. That's pretty cool. And then lastly, you have employment insurance, which is kind of boring and just it's your contribution to Japanese unemployment. This actually allows you to claim unemployment if you remain in the country after jet and are unemployed. However, if you do wish to remain long term, you will have to find a job because assumedly your visa is stipulated on your job. Number 4. Job security. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of working for Interac or one of the other dispatch companies, but by and large, the impression that I get on Jet is that job security is pretty much guaranteed. It costs a lot of money and it's a very large investment to get people out here from other countries. Things like paying for the flights, setting up the insurance, the housing and all that sort of stuff. The Japanese government invests a large amount in just getting you out to Japan and then out to your area. You can see this instantly whenever you come to orientation. You're in hotels, there's like 9 billion jets there, and it's expensive. And part of the benefit of that is that they really don't want you to leave mid-term. And this is why it's so damaging for a BOE if a jet does leave. And they don't actually replace them immediately. They wait until the next intake of jet. Now, I have friends who work for Interac who have quit their jobs and then gone back to their countries. And within a few months, the Interac position has been filled by a new ALT. A new person has applied to the job and then come over, assumedly on their own dime. But with jet, that doesn't happen. One of the fun consequences of that is that your job is a bit more secure, and I feel like you have a bit more leeway to kind of screw up. Although, try your best not to screw up, but it's there. You're here. They're glad you're here. They paid a lot of money to have you here. So try and do a good job, guys. Try and do a good. Perhaps it's time for number 5. Okay, let's talk about some of the side benefits of Jet. So whilst being on Jet, you actually get a fat stack of discounts across a whole range of things. And so I actually get a rent stipend every 4 months. Recently, we've just had a stipend come through to do a TEFL. So that's pretty cool. If that's something that you're interested in and you want to do that and get it on your CV, potentially on Jet, it's something that you can do for free. Number 6. So this one is a bit more... One of the really cool things about Jet is the Jet communities that have formed around the program. Jet works really hard, and there are a bunch of volunteer organizations within Jet that work really hard to try and ensure that you're having a good time and that you have people around you. So we have regular meetups, and there are a bunch of organizations that are essentially designed to get you meeting other foreigners to hang out with, which may not sound like such a big deal, but whenever you're unable to just regularly communicate in your own voice and in your own tone for so long, it can be really nice just to relax with other foreigners who have the same colloquialisms as you or speak in the same kind of phrases as you. So that's really awesome. And Jet has a bunch of these programs that are online through Facebook and through email chains and all kinds of other things in order to keep you socializing, I suppose. Number Nanatsu. This one kind of ties into the wage and job security one, but it's actually, I think, reasonable enough to have it separate, which is the actual ties into the government itself with Jet. So Jet is the only government-sponsored program, obviously makes it a bit more secure, gives you a lot more benefits than a lot of the private hire stuff, and it goes both ways. It's secured by your government, and it's secured by the Japanese government. There's kind of a stamp of approval that has to go on a whole bunch of different stuff. And whilst there's certainly criticisms to be made, unless the Japanese government is listening to this video, then there are no criticisms, and it's fantastic. Thank you very much. The fact that the government is even involved at all kind of creates an atmosphere where professionalism and a certain standard is strived to. A certain standard has to be hit. There's no bloody standard with me. I just can't even speak English. Not like you're an English teacher or anything, Luke. Number 8. the Japanese language course. So Jet actually has its own Japanese language course that they run for free for Jet members. I don't take part in this course. I have my own private tutors and I do my own thing with my Japanese. So if you're like me and you came to Japan with absolutely zero Japanese and not really even sure where to start, a free course with other people on your program at the same level as you can be a fantastic way to sort of just get your base settled and squared away. And if you don't want to do it, you can stop doing it. I think it's on your own time, but it's just another resource. It's another resource for you to have. Number 9. Jet is an endless void of resources, from emails coming through about different things happening, different events, different Jets living in other areas that you get to meet and you can hang out with and then possibly even crash with them if you want to travel to that area, all the way through to the more official stuff like the language thing or helping you deal with taxes. Jet has just an endless stream of resourceful paperwork that you can find online, and even including YouTube. Number 10. So this one is kind of an unusual one. This is actually what happens after Jet. So let's say you're fed up with Jet, you're burnt out, you're done, or you've done a couple of years and you just want to leave, or you want to do a different job. Jet will actually help you try and secure a new job. They will try and help you off the program. It's kind of awesome. It's kind of cool. So Jet runs a bunch of different programs, all the way from helping people get to job seminars, helping people get to what do you call those things where lots of job people turn up and they try to hire people? Job fairs, job market fairs, job fairs. They'll make you more aware of certain job fairs that are happening that are perhaps a little bit more friendly towards non-Japanese people, strictly for language reasons, not for racial. Jet even runs an internship program with various companies all across Japan. I believe it's a week. It's like a week to 10 days where you get to work full-time at a company, at a Japanese company. Now, I'm not really sure about how that works with pay. I think that it's like a classic internship where you just don't get paid anything. You get your regular Jet wage, and it also does require that you have the language to a certain degree, but it's still pretty awesome, right? I personally know one Jet who has very, very good Japanese, interned at one of these places, and then they actually offered him a job afterwards. He decided to stay on Jet because he wanted to try some other things, but I mean, that's about as good as it gets, right? There you go. There's my top 10 things that are pretty awesome about Jet. There are a bunch of really cool things about Jet, and you don't have to go far to see lots and lots of really awesome things about it online. Now, to be fair, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and I am going to cover some of the negative aspects of Jet in another video, and if I've made it by now, then it'll be up here somewhere. But yeah, hope you enjoy, and if you're thinking about joining Jet, go for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it. So that's 10 things that's pretty cool about Jet. But you know what isn't cool? Being put down by the YouTube algorithm. So if you could just go ahead and like and subscribe, and it helps me defeat the algorithm every time.